Welcome to Shardcast, the Brandon Sanderson podcast. We're a bunch of mega fans giving you the news, discussion, and of course, a whole lot of opinions about Brandon's works and the Cosmere. I'm Eric, and joining me is Ian.
Hey, I'm WeiryWriter.
Also joining me is our resident hobo, Evgeni.
Who? What? No. I'm Argent.
That was not the thing that we planned. It's great. Also joining us is Alyx.
Hey, I'm Feather.
What did we plan?
You were gonna make a joke that you looked just as hobo-y as town.
Oh, that's how we were gonna set it up.
And that's why
Okay.
I mentioned hobo, but I didn't mention the town part. So yeah.
I thought you were gonna lead with the town, and I was like,
No.
And I am the next best thing because I am just as homeless as he is.
We did not rehearse this. So
Now we have
No.
mentioned Tom, so the circle of stupidity is complete.
The circle. This week, guys, we are going to be talking about Cosmere crushes, Cosmere bays, Cosmere beefcakes, and we were gonna have Matt for the Max beefcake discussion, but Matt died. No, just kidding. His computer died though, and so he could not record.
Computer committed seppuku.
Yeah,
Yeah.
committed Subaru.
Committed Sudoku.
Yes. So, we don't have that perspective on loving beefcakes quite so much, but we're gonna talk about characters that we irrationally love a lot.
All of my loves are completely rational and definitely understand.
Rationable.
I started thinking about them and got flustered, so.
Hey, you guys never told me how to kick people from calls.
Nope. Well, actually, you can't. So, and also you shouldn't because it'll ruin my overlay. So don't do it.
The doors are locked. You're stuck with me.
Yeah. Only you can leave the call. So, Alyx,
Only you can prevent wildfires. Yes.
why don't you start with completely rational loves of yours?
Oh, God. Okay. So for those who don't know, I have
What's
terrible taste.
Yes.
Scroll.
It's
That's true.
real bad. And I feel like I got to start with a disclaimer that we did put Renarin on my list, but I don't have a crush on Renarin. He's my son. That would be a little weird.
But you do irrationally love him.
I do, but I don't want to like smooch him. I want to
right, okay,
wrap him
yeah.
in a blanket and
Right.
give him tea and tell him that everything's going to be okay. So
How about we talk about
Renarin-ish.
why you love Renarin?
Reverse Oedipus complex.
Wrapping Renarin in a blanket and giving tea is actually really nice because he seems to get cold whenever he void binds.
so much.
For the record, we don't know what if void binding. You know,
He
come
does
on.
it. There
An
are
enemy
multiple
way.
times when he is unreasonably cold at times when he shouldn't be, and he's wrapped in a blanket, he's drinking hot drinks. Good for you, Feather. Good for you.
I feel like that's just me though, because I'm often cold and wrapped in a blanket and drinking.
Do you see visions of the future?
No comment.
We won't
Can
know
you-
about that for a few books,
you-
and then we get the big reveal.
Do you know how to read?
Yes.
Busted.
Feather, why do you like Renarin? We're
You
not
know,
we're not
this
just
is-
mentioning what our crush or bae is. We have to sell it. Okay.
So I feel like, yeah, now that we've clarified that I'm not in love with Renarin, I would just die for him.
Okay. All right.
Just-
As you do.
I have no idea how I managed to zero in on the character I would love the most way before he was interesting. Because Way of Kings era, it didn't happen the first time I read Way of Kings. The first time I read Way of Kings, the only person I cared about was Kaladin, and that's tragic because there's so many good characters in the cast.
That's right.
But I think it was actually one of my friends mentioned the idea of like Shallan and Renarin as a relationship, and I like took this idea and ran with it.
Yes, you did.
And
yes, you
like
did.
that friend is not even online. It was like an IRL friend who didn't care about that ship that much at all and probably doesn't even remember it, but they like mentioned the possibility. And then I like started really paying attention to Renarin in the background, and he doesn't have a lot of scenes in Way of Kings.
No.
But the amount of characterization that Brandon manages to squeeze into those early scenes with Renarin is incredible. And when you pay attention to him, you know, you really can get a great sense for who his character is in only a few scenes. But because he's such a minor character, so many people overlooked him. And I know there were people in those like early fandom days who are like, wait a second, your favorite is who? That one kid in the background who's a little weird? Did he even do anything in this book? And I'm like, yes, he did everything.
To be fair, it's by Brandon's design that he's overlooked, you know? Like that's kind of what Brandon was going for you to characterize it and like
couldn't sneak
have him see
past
overlooked.
me.
Right.
I was here.
No. And afterwards of Radiance, you called it.
I did. And so like a lot of this whole like his insecurities, the way he wants to be useful, the way he values himself not anywhere near enough, like all of those things, just my heart went out for him. And then we get like Words of Radiance, and it comes up with like, oh, he's had a huge secret this whole time. And I feel like I got a lot of people who were like, you don't actually know this stuff about Renarin. You're making it up. That's not actually in the books. And I'm like, no, it is. You're just not. You just haven't memorized everything about him. Don't worry. I've got this. Don't doubt me.
I don't think you understand how obsession works.
There was one time where I'm like, Alyx, was this true about Renarin? And she's like, yeah, it is. This chapter. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not going to doubt you on Renarin ever again. I forget
it was like
what it was.
It was a very random. It was who talked about Parasafi, and I was like, oh yeah, that's Renarin talking to Navani.
Like,
and you're
really?
like, no, I think
don't
it was
remember
Sigil.
details
And I was
like
like, are you want to go? You want to go? I'll take you down.
Right.
But yeah, I remember that because it was a Renarin thing.
Yes.
But yeah, and then I feel like Oathbringer finally brought all of the things that I had loved about Renarin since the very start and like put them in the forefront. So now everybody can appreciate Renarin the way I do. Like his talks with Rock and with Adolin and the whole Jasnah scene at the end. It was like excellent. Now everybody, it's very clear that Renarin is the best character and no one will ever disagree with me ever again on penalty of death.
Except for all the people that are like, oh yeah, Renarin's gonna go evil.
I hate that theory.
Oh yeah,
hate it
it's
so
horrible.
much.
Like no.
You won't. He's a good child. I love him. Anyway. But yes, that's my Renarin love.
That's sensible. I mean, as sensible as it can be.
I feel like I can jump in here.
Yes.
Because we don't really have a structure.
No.
For this
Well,
episode.
I was just gonna go and go on each person's bay, and we'll just kind of go round robin like that. So
Sure.
you're up.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm gonna talk about
okay.
Renarin as well.
Oh, okay.
Because with a person like Feather in this fandom, my own love for Renarin gets overshadowed a lot. Because it's like I'm like I mentioned, yeah, I like this character a lot. I relate to him. I feel like I understand him. I've liked him since the beginning. He was always the quiet kid in the background, which a lot of these things, sans the equivalent of demonic possession, are things that I understand and have had in my life.
Yeah.
But whenever I say these things, I feel like there are just air horns and massive neon signs that say Feather.
No one else is allowed to love him.
Yeah, right. And so my comments just kind of go into the void.
I didn't even know this about you, so that's completely true.
Yeah.
I had
Right?
no idea.
Right? You didn't even put Renarin in your list, by the way. I did. So
One, I felt like there would be nothing else to say after Feather has gone through him.
Fair.
Two, I don't consider him a bae. or a crush or a beefcake, I consider him a character I relate to.
Okay, well that's less exciting.
It is,
See,
which is why
I'm
he's not on the list.
incredibly vain, so all the characters I relate to, I have a crush on. So, because you're like me,
Narcissism.
I love you.
Fair.
Yeah, I feel like I actually haven't talked about Renarin quite as much after Oathbringer, and that's kind of just because I feel like there's not as much need to defend him and my love for him anymore.
Yeah. Because now people
Like
realize,
people don't get as much
cool.
like, why would you care about Renarin? Everyone's like, oh yeah, Renarin's cool now, and I'm like,
Yeah, right.
great, but now my work here is done.
Yeah.
Dang.
And I also feel like Renarin, in large part, maybe entirely to Feather, because reading all of her posts on Tumblr about Renarin, it's like, oh hey, this guy is like me.
That's my favorite thing when people tell me I made them love Renarin.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, Evgeni. Top crush bae or
The
whatever.
queen, the one and only, the best, the most beautiful and intelligent, and compatible with my religious beliefs. Jasnah
Queen Fen?
Kholin.
Oh.
Jasnah.
Yes, Queen Fen.
Queen
yes.
Fen is awesome, but yes, Jasnah is amazing.
She is, but in a very different way. No, Jasnah's my jam.
Huh?
But she
even though
doesn't like Sham.
Yeah, but but that is because she's mine, not I am hers. That's how this works.
Oh.
Ah.
How
Okay.
yeah, how do you plan to persuade Jasnah to this arrangement?
Thoroughly in a written form
Okay.
with beautiful handwriting and compelling arguments,
Good
What
answer.
are your arguments?
which are, well,
We didn't prepare this podcast
That's-
enough to have. That's private. That's private,
Where's-
Ian.
where's
That's
your
private,
essay?
yeah,
Jasnah.
that's between me and her. Okay. I don't feel like I need to defend her as in my list as much as Feather does Renarin.
Are there people who
she's-
don't like Jasnah? Like dislike
Other-
her as a character?
Other people were dumb.
No, I'm
There
saying,
are
do those people
that
even
dislike
exist?
every character.
Well,
Yeah.
that's true, but like most people are like, Jasnah's awesome, and then when she becomes queen, there's like, yeah, I'm ready. And like I feel like that was most people's reaction. I don't know.
Yeah. So I am by far not unique in my love for her, or adoration for her, or obsession with her, or infatuation with her, or admiration for her.
Great. This is the podcast. This is the podcast. This is great.
See, I feel like I hear a lot of like people on Tumblr who are like, yes, Jasnah could step on me and I would thank her. And like all of those weird Tumblr ways of expressing affection.
I am so uncomfortable with stuff like that. Just scroll. No, there's so a few things about Jasnah, right?
Uh-huh.
A lot of people like her as either an asexual character, or lesbian, or bi, or and from there stem. How do I want to approach this? Because the direction I was going was not to belittle those things,
Right.
because there's definitely some support for these things. Like, she's not a character whose sexuality is explored at all. In fact, there is more support for these things. But I also feel like people were putting a lot of focus on that aspect of her, and they don't need to. Like, that's not a defining character for her.
Yeah.
Or a
And,
She's awesome
characteristic.
for a lot of reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
and Brennan has said that she would not want that to be the focus of
Oh yeah,
people's
definitely.
perceptions
Right.
of her.
So
It's
I guess where I was going with this is there's a good amount of online commentary on her that focus on that, and I really don't care for it. She is awesome because she is an academic. She is powerful. She is confident. She is strong in multiple ways. She kicks people so strongly that Adolin thinks there's a monster behind the street. So legs.
Her takedown of Amaram was just
that was
amazing.
great. That was so good because you hate Amaram so much, and then Jasnah's like,
so
yeah.
tasty.
You know
So
what
tasty.
what I love even more though is that her immediate reaction after that, immediately after, she goes, I probably should not have talked about his mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
also like
she is a powerful weapon when unleashed, but she also most of the time has the self-restraint and the control to go, no, that's too far. I should not burn this person.
Yeah, but at the same time,
sometimes literally.
that right. It just reminded me of, Way of Kings where Shallan's like, or where Jasnah's telling Shallan, you need to, you can't just be witty all the time, and then when Jasnah's unleashed, she's just like, yo, I'm gonna just wreck you. And like, that was
like, Shallan, you need to be careful with what you say and try not to insult people. And then Amaram walks in, she's like, never mind, drop me a beat.
Too much.
Casting a bike from thin air just to drop it.
Right. And I do think Jasnah is ace, but we often see a lot of Jasnah's beauty described through Shallan.
Yes.
So,
That's like, I also enjoy the ace Jasnah interpretation, but that's not as like defendable and important to me as like Shallan has a crush on Jasnah, and I don't. It's very
the biggest crush.
Yeah,
so much. And I don't know if Brandon necessarily intended it that way, or if it's
you read
just
Way
Brandon.
of Kings again, it's like
Brandon is a straight guy and doesn't know how straight girls describe beautiful women necessarily, but like, there's some crush there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the infamous tweet on by Shallan
About Silver, yes.
Yep.
Which as one of Silver's friends, there was like a good 2 hours of deliberation before Silver sent that tweet. She's like, guys, should I tweet at Brandon about how bi Shallan is? Like, I'm like, go for it. And then she tweets and it looks really casual. It was very carefully constructed and filled with much trepidation.
Yeah.
Each word carefully
And it
selected.
paid off. It was great.
But regardless of characters' sexuality on this podcast, we can still irrationally love any character, whether they are Eldritch horrors or ace or whatever.
Yeah.
Or not.
These are potentially unrequited loves.
Oh, well, they're all unrequited because they're fictional characters. So yeah.
Renarin
What are you
loves
for?
me back.
Quite.
So, Ian, tell us your top bay.
I'm actually going to go with Hoyd.
Oh.
Fair.
And so,
Explain.
for those of you who have watched Doctor Who, my
Not
favorite
me.
Doctor is the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith.
Mhm.
And there's just like a whimsy and a darkness to him that I just really love. And I see a lot of that in Hoyd. Like, Hoyd can be goofy at times, like when
Yes.
he's wit, like he's very
Yeah.
humorous.
Witty.
But there's also like, I would watch this world burn if it got me what I wanted.
Yeah.
I was like, yes.
That's my favorite side of Hoyd, definitely.
Yeah. Allow me to counter that with literally every other Doctor from the reboot has more of that darkness than Matt Smith.
But I just love the 11th Doctor, so it's
This is not a Doctor Who
rational.
podcast, but
Eh,
welcome to Doctor Who Cast, where Eric doesn't know what's happening because he's never seen an episode of it. Well, I have seen one episode, but
just say David Tennant's your favorite, and we can move on.
I thought going in, I thought David Tennant
we're
was going to be my
moving on.
favorite, but
Nope, we're not talking about Doctor Who. We're not talking about Doctor Who.
But David Tennant would make a good Hoyd.
Dr.
Yes.
Dr.
Yeah,
Floyd.
that's true. that is true.
Floofy hair.
Can I open with my top bae?
Yes.
Ba-Ado-Mishram. I don't care if she hasn't been on screen. And I don't care if some people listening to this podcast don't have my extreme love for Ba-Ado-Mishram. But okay, so this is an unmade, all right?
This is the unmade.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So she was a high princess of the enemy, a commander during some of the desolations. Now, you might say, well, Eric, that's because Ba-Ado-Mishram, that legend was just because of the false desolation, where Ba-Ado-Mishram was basically the big bad. Yeah, that's possible, but maybe she commanded the fused in other desolations. How freaking badass would she need to be? When she appears on screen, you need to be terrified. She is gonna wreck your crap all day long, and it's gonna be scary. It's gonna be great, and I love her. Also, just pointing out, she did a ridiculous thing of connecting with almost all the singers and connecting with them and giving them void light and forms of power, which is an absurd amount of magical ability. And it's just, oh man, she is gonna come on screen and be the baddest unmade that there was, and it's gonna be real bad, and it's gonna be great, and I'm gonna love her. And I don't care if she's a giant, like, evil monstrosity. I'd do her.
I just want to clarify.
I'm in.
This is a character that has never appeared in canon.
That's true. Look, she could have provided Gavilar that void light, okay? That's possible. All right?
She is mentioned,
She's
though,
mentioned in
enough.
epigraphs. She's not even mentioned in non-epigraphs. I understand this.
Several sentences about her.
Yes. Yes.
At least.
Her imprisonment caused all of the singers, except, the listeners, of course, to be lobotomized. And the Radiance at the time thought that would end desolations forever. Ba-Ado-Mishram is badass. She is so awesome, and I'm ready. I'm ready to see her on screen, and it's gonna be so good. You thought Syanat was cool? No, Ba-Ado-Mishram. She's gonna be awesome. Cool. Like, just imagine an unmade. Just imagine an unmade barking orders to the fused. Think about how awesome she needs to be to do that.
I think I've always had it in my head, and we don't want to turn this into a theory crafting episode, but I've always had it in my head that she was a singer at some point, and that's when she was a high princess of the enemy.
Also, I don't know if you can hear my cat crying for attention at my feet.
No,
but she is, and I'm trying to get her to stop clawing me.
Maybe she'll be guest starring on the podcast.
Now she's biting. Okay, cool, good.
She doesn't like Ba-Ado-Mishram.
No, she doesn't.
She's very jealous of Ba-Ado-Mishram. Dalish wants to be the High Princess of the Voidbringers.
She'd be good at it.
I'll be the High Prince of the Voidbringers.
A little disappointed, Eric, that this was literally the best podcast for you to do the Ba-Ado-Mishram.
Oh yeah, I know. I was getting there. Come on. No, Ba-Ado-Mishram. Or if you do a long A, that's probably just how Brandon pronounces it anyway.
Ba-Ado-Mishram.
Mishram.
Mishram. Ba-Ado-Mishram.
Brandon. We already did the pronunciation podcast,
I know.
But Brandon.
Yeah.
Some of these.
I was not on it, so...
No, you weren't. No, you weren't. But, no, I Ba-Ado-Mishram, I have... There have legit been nights where I'm like, man, Ba-Ado-Mishram is awesome. Like that, like a non-zero. Not like 5, but like more than 1. True story. That's completely accurate.
I don't even know how to respond to this.
If
just
she
that
could
she's
just
awesome.
Connect to me right now.
Yeah, I'm just thinking how awesome she will be on screen. and how she will like just murder half the cast, and probably could. She probably could. I'm ready.
Oh,
like Kaladin
man.
gets shard plate, Ba-Ado-Mishram comes in and just just immediately kills Kaladin. That's the end of book 4, calling it.
You have terrible ideas.
I know, it's great.
No.
It's
Fandom
great.
would revolt.
I
Man.
know.
Did we figure out
But
how
I'll
to
be
kick people
happy.
from this call?
But I'm hosting this call.
Dang it. Curses.
So that's Ba-Ado-Mishram. She's my top bae. I won't miss her connection.
I'm a little afraid because I think this means we're back to me.
That's right.
And my first choice was a disclaimer in that it was not really a bae or a beefcake. But now I have to confess to my number one trash
bae.
garbage Cosmere love,
I'm ready.
which is Mraize.
Yes.
Oh God. Like, for those of you who've listened to Splintercast, I am eternally embarrassed at how I reacted the first time Mraize showed up in the book.
You can listen to
It was-
Alex reacting
it's true.
to
You can go
Mraize
back.
for
I
the
don't
first
remember
time
which
on
chapter it is.
Splintercast
44?
reads Words of Radiance. It's all on iTunes here.
I want to say 44. Chapter 44 is the first time Mraize shows up. But yeah. So that's just my type. Very evil, very dangerous,
Very
very
sexy.
well dressed. Speaks like a gentleman. Will torture you.
Little knife.
The look that Argent is giving you.
And now we're on video. This is so good. We get to judge each other's bays on video. Easy.
I just have such a thing for like extremely manipulative relationships too. And the whole like back and forth spy versus spy thing that he and Shallan have going on. Like, I know it's the worst ship ever, but I do kind of ship it.
Yeah, see,
It's
I you know,
so
if Shallan and Adolin, if there's relationship problems, I wouldn't want Shallan to be with Kaladin. Mraize, though, I'd be like, yeah, you know, I'd be down for that. That would be
Oof.
fun.
And like he's got that whole vibe of he knows so much and he will use that knowledge to make you do what he wants, no matter what your goals are. You're going to be doing what the Ghostbloods want. And I'm disappointed that there was not more Mraize in
Yes.
Oathbringer. We need more Ghostbloods plot
I feel like that's
so that I
gonna
can,
be
like,
a big
fan
part
myself
of book 4.
every
you
time
know?
he's on screen.
Be still your beating heart.
Ugh,
You
goodness.
you want the Ghostbloods to blackmail you into doing whatever Mraize wants you to do.
It wouldn't be difficult. But yeah, I love really terrible characters.
Oh,
do.
I'm most
The
excited for
worst.
your next one on the list.
The worst characters. Okay, all right. We'll get to that in a
We'll
little
get
bit.
to that.
But
Evgeni.
oh,
Okay, so my number 2 bae is Jasnah Kholin, Queen of Aletka.
Uh-huh.
That's my entire list, you guys. It's just-
My
Yeah,
Ba-Ado-Mishram,
7
that's 3. There's 2 hyphens, 3 names. 3 people
that
on
is
the
true.
list.
Yeah,
See?
it's
Can't
Ba.
beat that. Who else on your list has 3 names?
I think Hoyd counts.
Well,
We do-
okay.
we do-
Okay,
we do have-
shut up.
We do have one hyphenated name,
Oh, that's true. That's true.
but
What's your actual second one?
my actual second, I actually didn't put these in.
No. You didn't.
any kind of
I
priority.
no, I put some.
But
of these on
I'll-
here for you.
I think I can safely go with Chris, the Duchess Chrysala. You look at her, you look at Jasnah.
Duchess?
I think you're getting an idea of what my
Hold
type
up,
is.
hold up a
We're
second.
all making faces.
Duchess? Duchess?
Duchess.
Yeah, that's a CH.
However, the land that a duke and a duchess rule over is Duchy, and it's Dookie, which bothers me a
I
lot.
thought it was
Oh,
Dutchy.
what?
No, I'm almost positive it's Dookie. English is a bad language.
Yes.
Okay, that's fair. Sorry, I was just like,
Anyway.
Look, to this day, I have not gone over the fact that ratio and patio.
Okay, that's true. Look,
Yeah.
Honestly.
English doesn't make any
So-
sense. We all know this.
Juches, Chrysala, Chris. No, I've lost my mojo.
No.
Why is Chris great?
I mean, she is intelligent. She has passion for science. She likes to dig in the little
Sand?
behind the scenes kind
Oh.
of laws of the universe of the Cosmere.
It's like she
Also
likes
the
to dig
sand.
in
Yes,
sand.
also the sand.
Like, what,
Yes.
where are you going? with
Yes.
this?
There's little bacteria there, and they do things with investiture and light and
Yeah.
and moisture.
Mm.
Obviously, we've seen even less of her than we have seen of Jasnah. I'm still waiting for an actual novel for White Sand where we get to spend some more time with her. We get to see her discover the presence of the Cosmere, leave that world, and decide that, hey, I'm gonna go figure how all of this works out.
Yeah,
And on the way,
that's an interesting Chris story.
I'm gonna go grab this Irish James Bond type of guy.
Yeah, a story of of Chris and Nas meeting. Yeah,
I love her style as like
Ugh.
aesthetic.
Outfits are so good.
seeing her and Nas in Secret History is like, yeah, that was
yeah.
good stuff. Seeing her in White Sand does not give me the same joy as say that
But
in.
she does such a catwalk entrance.
That's
true. I
Probably
do
my
love
least
her
favorite part about that, actually. And you can listen to our White Sand Volume 1 reactions. That's actually our longest podcast, actually.
Oh, I know you've probably thought of this, and even though I said that I really do like Ace Jasnah, Jasnah and Chris is an excellent
That's
show.
true.
They would get along so well with each
We
other.
can. I think most people can get behind that one.
They'd be so perfect. I
Your
should
phone.
actually just campaign and just make Brandon do that.
start a petition.
Yeah. yeah.
Change.org. Canonize it.
But yeah, I really loved her appearance in was it the Bands of Morning? Yeah, it was Bands of Morning, right? Not Shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah, where
Well,
she
Chris, yeah.
dances with wax.
She just jumps into the dance and is like, okay, tell me how this works. Yeah.
And lampshades the red shift, which is like, oh, so good.
Like,
So good. It's
oh,
like,
world topper.
If
Hi.
I could just figure out how you guys don't burn yourselves to death.
that's
Yeah.
a great lampshading that Brandon can get away with now. I don't know if he can get away with that in Era 4, but you know.
Yeah.
Probably less so.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Chris
maybe.
is great. But my least favorite Chris is White Sand. But her essays are great. I like, oh, give me more essays.
Oh yeah.
Now
yeah,
this essay. Oh
essays.
yeah.
Essay's fantastic. I love the fact that she is right now somewhere on Roshar, just teasing secrets out of the Artifabrians and being frustrated
Yeah.
when they don't give her the secrets. I absolutely love the fact that she is gathering maps for some reason.
She does like maps.
She does like maps, and I like maps, and I like Isaac, and Isaac also likes maps.
But that's a
Um,
person in Bridge 4. Maps. That's a
Oh,
character.
my
Sorry. Sorry.
How do I kick somebody from this?
That's the our like byline on Shardcast now.
I can mute all three of you at the same time. It's great.
It's great, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, that's Chris. I love me some nerdy girls. I love me some science girls.
Yeah.
I love me some girls that are very much no nonsense type of, hey, we're talking business now.
I'd like her better if her plan in White Sand wasn't dumb. But
Well,
You know.
she got to start somewhere.
well,
She doesn't know it's dumb.
We'll
She's
see in
saving
Volume 3 what the canonical thing's
Hey,
gonna
maybe that's why she left the planet. It's like, this planet has a very dumb plot.
be.
Pieces out and goes to Mistborn.
I have to chase the other avatars of this shard that we don't even talk about in Volume 1. But
So now she's Zuko chasing the Avatar.
Terrible.
Ian, what's next for you?
So, this next character has become dear to me over the course of Shardcast
Yeah.
because someone likes to make fun of me
What?
about this character.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Is it Ben? Has Ben become dear to you?
Yeah. And it's the best dragon, Edgley.
Has that been confirmed?
No, not at all.
Okay, cool. I don't keep up with WOBs, so
No.
y'all can't just say things.
If only
'Cause
you
I'll
had a
assume it's
podcast
real.
that talked about exciting words of Brandon, like Shardcast.
But
Oh.
what? She's totally a dragon. Like, come on. Like, she has to be. Like,
That's, yep.
Come on.
Because breath.
2,
Oh, no.
She's
oh my god.
a shard. She's an incredibly powerful woman. Like, that's awesome.
I mean,
And
that's
3,
true.
if you mess with her, she will destroy you. So come on, that's great.
I
that great?
really loved her letter in
Oh yeah.
Bringer.
Yeah. Oh,
So
Yes.
I remember like
Yeah.
in those very first few weeks when we were like trying to piece together who was who, everyone's like, that can't be Edgley. It seems so harsh. And I'm like, no, I bet you it is.
Yeah,
I bet it is. And she would smack you.
Yeah,
yeah. It gives
If-
so
if
much
odium,
characterization.
If odium becomes a problem, he will be dealt with.
It's like, oh, okay. Sure.
Sign me
that
up.
sounds convincing. What?
This is my tropical paradise planet, and I will wreck you.
If
Yeah.
you come here, I will destroy you. I will
Yep.
deal with
Yep.
you.
Yep. No, I love that line.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm.
I do too, which is why I love Edgley.
Or Edgley, as
Also, I
other
say
people would say.
Edgley.
Can we
I used
kick
to be-
people from this call?
Your presence suggests that no, we cannot.
Nope.
I used to be a hashtag Edgley guy, and I just think Edgley sounds
It
better.
does. But speaking of a pronunciation that is wrong, that I still say, Marasi. I love.
I'm probably not going to give Marasi.
oh, instead
I'm
of
I'm not
Marcy.
going to give that up.
I can't give it up either. Even though I realize Marasi makes much more sense.
Mm.
What?
I feel like Argent is onto something,
Yes.
and we should all just switch to Edgley, and the G is silent, and that will solve this problem.
Yeah, the G is silent, easy. Like lots of like through. You don't pronounce the G
the,
there.
the tears of
Easy.
Edgley.
Eggly.
Eggly.
Oh,
The D is silent. Eggly.
so many
But,
bad takes.
Sorry,
in
I
this.
was trying to do a nice transition into my love for Marasi. Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Nice try.
Yeah, yeah. I
Didn't
look,
work.
guys.
Attempts were made.
I do my best. These guys do their best to derail. Me too, though. Marasi is wonderful, and from the second that I saw her in Alloy of Law, I'm like, oh, you're the best. You're again really smart. I thought for a while that like I was kind of disappointed that Wax was going through with his engagement because I'm like, oh, Wax and Marasi. This was an Alloy, but then like I got to see how their relationship evolved, and I like that a lot better, of course. And so I wonder who Marasi will end up with, you know. But she's smart and awesome, and I mean that's all you need to know. And she's making waves in you know, the Elendel constabulary.
It's because she
Yes.
likes stats, isn't it? She's a statistics person.
Yeah, that's true. That helps. That helps a
And
lot.
she's totally gonna end up with Alyx. Just saying.
Yeah, that's true.
Alyx is awesome.
I just don't know how much Southern. Who knows what
Sorry.
Lost Metal's gonna be?
Lots of background noise. Dayla's just trying to destroy my blinds again.
One of my favorite moments with Mercy is where she talks with Wax about the concentration of lawmen in the city versus the roughs, and how the roughs were actually numerically better policed than the city of Elendel. It's such a great, like, I love this in a character. Just like, give me the data.
Yeah.
Give me the numbers. Give me the
Data.
science.
Yes, data. Yes. Love her.
Oh,
She's
I
pretty great.
do have a type, don't I?
You haven't figured this out yet?
I mean, not to this extent.
Look,
Like,
my loves go Eldritch horrors who will destroy me and girls who like math. I'll go for the crazy Eldritch horror first, but girls who like math, I'm in. Okay.
What if it's a
Slut.
crazy Eldritch horror who loves math?
Oh,
So,
take me now. I'm in.
I'm glad I'm not the only person with questionable taste here.
Speaking of questionable taste, Alyx.
Oh no. Okay, I had this one put on my list. I
Look.
did not choose this next one.
No. You, as soon as you read that chapter in Oathbringer, you messaged me that I think I have a crush on Odium. That's what you said.
Ugh. Okay,
Explain.
here's the thing. I
was not surprised.
as much as I like sinister, manipulative people, I also like people who are 100% evil and very nice about it, because that's such a fun character type. And my argument is, yeah, Odium looks like an old dude for most of Oathbringer, but he's a shard, which means he can make his avatar look like whatever he wants. He looks like a singer in the last part of the book, so he could be hot if he wanted to. I just need to.
Oh,
leave.
so you're not into the old man aspect?
No, I don't. This is like when I tell people.
Do you like the crown, the golden scepter, and
gold and white is a great aesthetic for a villain because it's very holy and beautiful. Anyway,
I do still love the line. You're God.
The other one.
No, I'm the other one. So they call me Odium. Like, yes.
but
that is easily one of the best lines in Oathbringer, I think.
So good.
Oh, chills. Oh.
I feel like it's a little similar to when I tell people that I really like Gaul from Destiny 2, who's a very ugly space turtle dude. And I'm like, listen, it's not about what he looks like. It's the things he does. And also his voice acting is amazing. And
I'm learning
just
new
close
things
your
about
eyes
you,
a little
Alyx.
bit. You don't have to. It's not about the aesthetic here.
Just close
about
your eyes and let it happen.
The unashamedly evil and despicable person, and I don't think that's better. But
I can get behind.
Where we are.
You're consistent.
Ugh.
I can get behind good voice acting.
Yeah, that's true.
Ruin has some similarities to Odium in that same kind of kindly force of destruction who's trying to, kill everyone.
Odium's way more
and is
interesting.
trying to be really nice about it.
Yeah.
But Ruin, you also have a lot more of the shard brainwash. I don't get the sense that Ruin tries to be really manipulative about it so much as it's just
well,
I mean, yes, but
Odium
Ruin
is
is
very
less-
colored by his perspective, but strongly so. He just thinks he's completely correct.
Ruin is
Ruin does
much
too.
less, I feel disingenuous about it. Ruin actually believes a lot of the things that Ruin says.
He's an
Whereas-
adorable puppy.
Yeah.
But
Odium,
whereas Odium is oh no, I'm awesome.
actually, Odium actually loathes everyone and is smiling so that you will smile back the
I'll
whole
transform
time.
this realm substantially. Yeah.
Okay. All right then.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Odium. Okay then. Sure. Thanks.
You call him daddy.
This term. Listen, I suggested horribly a Chrome extension that would change all instances of Stormfather to Storm Daddy, and it's the worst thing I've ever suggested.
Next. Next.
Evgeni, next.
I will save us. Where's my list?
No
Where's
escape.
my list? Where's my list? Who deleted my list? Okay. Let's see.
Also starring Dalish. Oh, nope. He's gone.
She's gone.
He's gone.
She's here,
Uh,
but she's gone.
I guess I'm gonna keep it thematic,
Okay.
and I will select. So we're no longer going in order for me.
Yeah.
Because it's a tough call. I'll take Steris. I'll take the Steris.
Yeah.
Um,
That was bad.
Thank you.
That took me a bit.
Thank you.
That took me a
Thank you.
second.
Those are the best. Those are the spiciest.
Huh.
So Steris. I mean, obviously she fits everything I've talked about so far to an extent. I think the mix between her kind of I don't want to say cold and calculating because that's true, but that doesn't describe her very well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the mix between these kind of characteristics and her just complete and unabashed and shameless love for thrill and action. Like I'm thinking when the very first time Wax takes her essentially to the skies, right?
Mhm.
When they fly up, and
Yeah.
she loves it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's the juxtaposition between her quote unquote regular or normal personality and those moments is really exciting and it's really neat.
Yeah.
I think her just amazing level of preparedness with lists all the time is great. I think her sense of humor, although I don't think she thinks that is sense of humor, is great. Like she has the ability to say funny things, and she thinks she's saying serious things, but they actually come out funny, and it's fantastic. I love it. One of the things that I also find in myself sometimes where people think I'm being funny when I insult them when I actually am just insulting them.
That's just convenient, really.
Note to anyone who talks to Evgeni, it's probably serious.
But yeah, I don't think I have much to talk about Ceres. It's just she's such a genuine character and she's lovable, and I loved her since the Alloy of Law when people either hated her or didn't give a crap about her.
That was me.
So I have
daring.
more to say about Steris.
I
Okay.
also-
Take it away. I'm
Well-
I'm glad to share her.
One of my favorite things about Steris is her honesty. She has a very unbiased perception of herself and others. And we see this with towards the ends of Bands of Mourning. She talks about how she ranked everybody in terms of what they add to the mission on a scale from
Yeah.
0 to 100. All the others are in like the 70s to 90s, and she's a 7. Those numbers might not be accurate because it's been a while since I read the book, but
It's been a while, yeah.
approximately, yeah.
and you think like that's so sad, and then she's talking to the Southerners. They have no idea what she's saying. She's mostly just talking to herself.
Right.
I couldn't in good honesty give myself the lowest score because I do have my uses sometimes, and like she pulls out the medallions.
Yep.
It's like, yes,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then there's the scene in the party,
Yeah.
with Wax and Steris in
Mhm.
New Saren, where she keeps drinking the lemon drink, but doesn't act like she's been drinking it. And Wax just notices that's lower than it was, and she's like, "Ooh." She's just adorable.
Garrison
I-
Band's so good.
I adore Steris for many of the same reasons that I adore Renarin. And I will say, as a testament to Brandon's characterization, even though they're both like confirmed on the autism spectrum, they both are very different characters.
Totally different.
And I love that he's got that, writing characterization range, but they also have that like common thread of both underestimating themselves and thinking that Steris has that scene, and Renarin always talks about how he's useless. And I'm like, they're so amazing at what they do. And when they get their moment to shine and they start to see that they're valuable and do great things, I'm like, oh, yay. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
And then there's the infamous hotel scene.
The infamous hotel scene.
Yes.
So
which is,
great.
Again,
Are these threats? Like, no, I just like being prepared.
yeah. It took me a long time to get warmed up to Steris. Like, I never disliked Steris, but I'm like, in Alloy, I like Marasi better. Like, I did. But, like, through bands. Oh. So, she's so great.
She's so great.
And I mean, I feel like we have to address the end of Shadows of Self.
Yeah.
Mm. The beginning of Band of Mourning with her wedding and like it getting ruined was so sad. I was like, can Steris just have one good thing? And
but it was better that
it was. I
the
liked
end,
the other
right?
wedding
Like,
better.
it was,
but
But she had a
it
backup
meant more.
location, like 6 rings.
that's part of one of the reasons that like Wayne gets on my nerves so much, because he's mean to Steris,
Right.
and Steris is my favorite character in Era 2.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm gonna be at your throat, Wayne, unless you leave her alone.
It was really emotional when, Wax, like, really meant that he wanted to be her husband. Like,
Yeah.
that was really great. And
Yeah.
by the end of Bands, like, I don't know. It totally sold me.
And she bursts into tears. And
Yeah.
is this something that deviated from my list has never been like so wonderful. Like,
That was so cute.
I feel like her whole marriage contract thing, she first comes off as like, oh, she's unemotional and doesn't care about romance at all. And then it turns out she does really want to be loved and have intimacy with someone.
Yeah.
She just never thought anybody would want her. And so
Right,
having a
exactly.
contract would be respectful for this person who gets stuck with her for the rest of their life. Like, what a
Right.
sad thing to think. And I'm so glad
Yeah.
that she and Wax actually
Yeah.
love each other
No,
now.
that's great.
I relate to this very specifically and individually and personally.
Ian, do you want to do another one?
sure, because my list is so long.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with Light Song.
Is it getting
Ooh.
longer?
No,
Light Song is really good. He's
Yeah.
great.
he is the epitome of beefcake.
By definition, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a tall,
Yeah.
buff guy. So,
Yes.
but there's also he has no idea who he was before, and there's a whole subplot of him trying to figure out who he was
Oh
before.
man, that was so funny.
and then there's this scene at the end where he's trying to sword fight because he thinks he's this great hero, and Lalarmar, his brother, is like, "You were an accountant."
That's right.
Oh, Light
man.
Poor
So good.
Larimar.
Oh.
And there's the whole idea where he is a genuinely heroic person, in my opinion. But yeah, he has this persona of being a goofball, like a rebel almost. Because
Yeah.
Mhm.
he's not very highly respected among the court.
Right.
Like, there was the time where he
I
tried to be like a good god, and
Right.
everybody just thought he was being fake and demeaning him.
He's such a Chad without being a Chad.
Oh goodness. I think that's probably the saddest thing about the idea of a Warbreaker sequel.
That Light Song won't be there.
Yeah, it's like I constantly forget that he died in the end. I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to see Lightsong and Blushweaver again. And then I'm like,
Nope.
oh wait,
Well,
no, they're
yeah.
both
We're not even going to be
gone.
in Hallandren, probably. So
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
not gonna be in Titular.
So sad. Because like Lightsong was such a huge part of that book, and the
Well,
fact
you're
that
also not
the
going to
idea
see
that he won't be
Blushweaver
back.
because she's also dead.
I know they're both gone.
They're both dead.
It's very
So-
sad. It was he had a great. He went out with a bang though.
Yeah.
And it
It-
was very good.
It was
Even
really good.
even
It's-
if that bang was not Blushweaver.
I walked into that.
You really look.
Like
I
a
was like, how do I phrase that
doorpost.
joke? And you just made it for me. Thank you.
Speaking of Blushweaver, Ian, I'm looking at this list.
Uh huh.
yes, I also have Blushweaver on the list.
Blushweaver's great. Blushweaver is. She's. You think like she's like a villain for a lot of the book.
Like she's either a villain or a very vapid. Like the persona she gives off is a very vapid, like looks oriented person.
Right.
Where she's actually incredibly smart and her whole persona is an act.
Right.
Yeah.
A very
exactly.
comfortable act for her, but she
Yeah.
almost went with like a very chaste persona, which would have been weird.
Given.
I-
I'm glad
yeah.
she was.
I
written.
never got a villain out of her, but yeah, I think vapid is probably a good word. Like I keep trying to think
Antagonist.
of like a character in popular media that I can say, well, she tries to come off like that, and she does it very well when she's not actually like this,
Right.
and I just can't think of anyone.
She's
almost a femme fatale.
Yeah.
almost. Yeah.
Mhm.
But there's a lot more depth than she gives off, and that was just really great. And it was sad when she died. I was like, oh, holy crap, this
Yeah.
is
And
Yep, they just
Yeah.
did that.
yeah.
underestimating her, like that's all part of her plan. She wants people to underestimate her
Yeah,
because she
right.
can manipulate people better that way.
And going with the looks-oriented approach, also very good for manipulating people. Just
Oh, she's 100% comfortable to just use her sexuality to get what she wants.
Yeah, I think there's definitely that, archetype of the very beautiful, seductive, manipulative woman,
Sure.
and she's always doing bad things.
right.
And the fact that we have Blushweaver, who turns out she actually does want to like stabilize the kingdom and make sure in the event of a war
Right.
that they're going to be able to protect their people. And it's like,
Yeah.
great.
It's just through
She's
most of the book you
wonderful.
don't know that that's what Blushweaver is doing.
Right.
That's what I
Yeah.
was kind of going with the antagonist.
Yeah, you're
like-
always like waiting for the ulterior motive.
Right,
and
exactly.
It's like,
It-
oh no, she's on the up and up.
It was doing a different strategy than Lightsong.
Mhm.
She and Lightweaver are actually a very well-suited match. So
Lightweaver?
it's very sad that they both died
Yeah.
before they could actually progress their relationship.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true.
Now that I think about it, welcome to Derailcast.
Yeah.
Warbreaker is
I'll get
even
to my next
more-
day eventually.
Warbreaker is even more full of Brandon subverting tropes than
Yeah.
his other
So
books.
much.
It's
Like
so deliberate.
Sirid, Vivenna, Vasher, Suzebron,
Yeah.
Lightsong,
Yeah.
Blushweaver,
That book is all about
the
reversals.
mercenaries.
It's all about reversals, the entire thing.
Mhm. Yeah. Nothing is as it appears
Yep.
in Warbreaker.
Yeah. If you haven't read Warbreaker, oops. But
What
But-
are you
Spoilers.
doing here if you haven't?
But
That's true.
read that book because that is a fun book. I like introducing that as an intro Brandon book because the prose is really good.
Definitely a good one. Mhm.
My next bay was surprisingly not at the top of the list for me, but Shallan. Now, okay, I need to be personal for a second. That I end up dating crazy girls who are broken, and it's not really great. So I'm into Shallan. So she's smart and witty, and I always end up with broken girls anyway. So Shallan and I we'd get along really well. So yeah, so she's awesome in all of the right ways, and she would definitely kill me eventually. So that's fine.
Okay, pattern.
Yeah, well, right, exactly.
Well, they both do love math, so
Exactly.
That's
Yeah, see, I'll endear
true.
myself to pattern easy. But yeah, no, Shallan's great, except for all the emotional issues. Yeah. So I really like Shallan. I've always liked Shallan. In Way of Kings, some people are like, oh, I want to get back to this other stuff. Me, first time I read Way of Kings, I'm like, man, part 2 was hard because there was no Shallan breaking this stuff up. So,
Yeah.
So I always liked getting back to the Shallan sections, and I loved Words of Radiance. Oathbringer Shallan was harder to read, but that was by design. It's like, oh, you're regressing, and and confronting
It's a
those
tumultuous
things.
time for her.
Yeah, but she's still my bae. So,
And she could be anyone in any place.
well, I mean, she can't-
Psychologically dangerous.
yeah,
yeah.
that Shallan.
I'm actually going to jump in here
Okay.
and just follow up with. She's also on my list
Yep.
for similar reasons.
Okay.
She's smart. She is witty. She is oftentimes very energetic, very excited. She can be bubbly, which I think is adorable.
Yes, it is.
But she also shows a lot of the traits that we've now established are my type. She's interested in stuff like in science and nature
Scholars.
and how the world works. And she is obviously a very good artist. And as somebody who doesn't have a single artistic bone in me,
Very impressive. Yep.
to me that's fantastic. I love visual artists. I love musicians. I love people who can do creative things with their talents that are, I mean, period, creative things. I was going to say creative things that are not programming, because software development can in also many ways be creative, but I don't see that as
It's a little
as art.
different.
It engages very similar areas of the brain, but it's like I don't see it as art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so people who can do that kind of stuff they're black magic to me, man.
Yeah, good artists. Yeah, I mean, I also
and
Mhm.
so we are. I was gonna bring this up a little earlier, but I forgot. We are recording this in October.
Yep.
And so it is still Inktober for us,
Yep.
and there has been some beautiful art coming out of the fandom
Yep.
in the past several weeks.
Definitely.
A couple of great light songs that just perfectly capture the character.
Mhm.
And so Inktober, fantastic time for this.
Artists are extremely attractive to me, for sure.
We love
Yeah.
you, artists.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, 100% hands down.
Just like,
Um,
dang, that is impressive as hell. Like, geez.
and so Shallan hits a lot of the right chords with me. The art and the science and the excitement and the one thing I've realized about myself recently is that I am not as much interested in people enjoying the same things as I do, as I am interested in people just being passionate about stuff.
Yep.
Which, after Alex's previous submission to this podcast, I'm a little worried about, but I'm not going to think about that much.
Passion.
The shard of passion.
Right. And Shallan is all of those things in multiple areas, and she's young and adorable and cute and witty, and she has a weapon, and she's killed her parents. It's
Both parents. Yep.
both parents.
Oh,
And she'll definitely
oh,
kill me. Easy.
We all have such issues. I love it. So good.
Your turn,
Yep.
Alex.
So speaking of Warbreaker, you noting the trend in this list, people could probably guess
What?
which of the Warbreaker characters would be.
Speaking of
interesting
Warbreaker and garbage,
to me,
Warbreaker and garbage. When I think Warbreaker and garbage, I think of
Denth.
them.
I really
Don't
like.
fall.
Oh man, no, God. See, the
No.
thing is, like,
No.
Tongfa is evil, but he also has the like dumb brute persona.
Yeah.
And my whole thing with dangerous characters is I often go for manipulative characters because they're extremely smart.
Right.
And that's what's
Right,
really
exactly.
interesting to me about manipulators is like not only do you have to be really smart to do it, but you also have to be really empathetic and like understand what the other person wants and how you
Right.
can use that to get what you like. It's such an interesting character. This is why
I
I'm
wait
like
for your
fascinated
future
by
relationships,
manipulation.
Alex. You
Yeah,
know?
right.
I'm so into just being manipulated and just I just really
I
like
don't
that
want to
empathy.
be manipulated. I like watching them manipulate other people.
Oh, okay.
It's different, right?
Yeah.
She's a sadist, not a masochist.
She likes them.
Anyway, one of my favorite things about Warbreaker is so I've talked about how I read Cosmere books aloud to people.
Right.
And my sister was kind of the first audience that I had for Cosmere books. And we read Warbreaker after I read the Mistborn series to her. And she thought she knew what was going on. She, like, the start of the book, she's like, oh, the God King doesn't have a tongue. And he's not as evil as he thinks he is. Like, very early on, she's like, I got this. I have Brandon's number. I know the way he writes now.
But
I know his
then-
plot twists. And she was so secure in her knowledge that she was not going to get taken, off guard. And then the 10th reveal happened. And it remains to this day the only Cosmere plot twist that made my sister scream. And I just, like, that's one of the reasons I love reading to people is, like, I get to be there for their reactions in the moment. And it's just, I feel like, unlike Mraze and like Odium, Denth really doesn't think he's a bad person.
No. He's just done bad things.
Yeah, he's just like slowly crossed lines further and further until he suddenly looks at himself and is like, oh, maybe I am a bad person. Okay, let's do that then. It's like, dang.
I think it was in the Warbreaker annotations that Brandon talked about how everyone is the hero of their own story.
Yeah, Denth really
Which,
exemplifies it.
and reading those annotations 10 years ago or whatever, I think that was the first time I heard that phrase. I was like, that fits him exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a lot of Warbreaker is a direct response to the first Mistborn trilogy.
Yeah.
And Denth is the Kelsier analog.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That this is the person Kelsier would be if he wasn't forced to be the hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's
Denth
happy to
is
cross lines and
genuinely likable. Even after you find out, he still has moments where you're like, oh, yep.
right until the end, he's likable the whole entire time.
Oh, yeah, he went plummeting out the window to his death. Of course he'll survive. Like, just great quotes like that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And also there was that whole thing where he, like, tied Vasher up by his wrists. Okay, who's next?
Yep.
I have bad taste.
Yes.
Yes, we've
We're-
established this
Our
repeatedly.
audience is learning a lot about us today.
Oh, y'all insisted I were on this podcast.
Because you have to
mandatory.
be.
You were mandatory.
Mandatory. My community service, confessing my sins to the entire fandom.
You have the title Fandom Monster for a reason.
I do. That's true.
Evgeni, what's your next one?
Let's see. I guess I will address some beefcakes.
Okay, all right, good.
I can do that. I am
gotta rep, the
not a beefcake type of guy, but
Yeah,
I
no,
can
me either.
I can respect the man sometimes.
Yeah.
And on not the top of that list is Vasher. I am
The scholar type. All right, got that.
right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's actually what I'm going to talk about, right? The opening line of Warbreaker is one of my favorite lines. It's funny how many things begin with me being thrown in prison.
A great line.
True to your life.
Relatable.
Relatable.
We've all been there, Vasher.
So many times being thrown in prison.
Yeah. Obviously, he's a mystery for a lot of Warbreaker. Obviously, he is just like a very grumpy, serious, no nonsense type of guy, which are all characteristics I can relate to and oftentimes exhibit. And then probably my favorite part of the entire book, and that includes the reveal at the end, and that includes the healing of the God King and him just going down the hole and awakening furniture and carpets and paintings and everything. This is such I'm a sucker for visual moments, and this is one of the greatest ones in Brandon's work. Including that moment, my favorite moment of the entire book is when we've spent like half the book establishing Vasher and establishing that he doesn't talk about stuff, that he doesn't like people, and then he's talking with Vivenna, and he switches on full scholar mode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
She
she
goes-
just kind of blinks like, what?
Well, there are 4 types of biochromatic entities in the invested art we know as, and it's a technical talk, it's a science, it's a scholar. I'm like, yes.
But he's also grumpy about it. Like, he's not a good teacher. That's the best part.
Yeah.
Like,
He just like info dumps on you and you're like,
Yeah.
that's not helpful, dude.
And it, like the
Give me
contrast.
more, please. Thanks.
Yeah, the contrast between him just using very short sentences and just grunting a lot like any Cosmere guy and ignoring questions and then he switches in welcome to the lecture hall.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Obviously, or maybe not so obviously, his story continues in the Stormlight Archive, where he is very much the same guy.
Yeah. When you figure it out, it's like, oh yeah, that is the same person. Got it.
Yep. He still doesn't like people. He is still
a
very
bad
much.
teacher.
He's still a bad teacher. Well, that's debatable.
He's grumpy about it.
Yeah. But he is, at least at times, very helpful.
He's not like the standard wise mentor figure, right? Who's very empathetic and like, yes. He's no Gandalf.
No.
Not at all.
And so he is obviously fantastic there as well.
Yep.
I am offended by everyone. Bright Lord is just a perfect tagline for him.
Yeah.
I'm offended by everyone's presence.
You gotta love a god who's serving as a priest of a different religion. Just
Yeah.
well done, Masher.
Right.
Good job.
So that's my dude.
Yep. Ian. Last
So I'm
big
going
one.
to go to a previously undiscussed world
Okay.
in this discussion
Uh-oh.
with Reodin.
Oh, okay. That's not surprising.
I'm sorry.
You're
who's-
taking us to Elantris,
who's Re-
Ian.
Reodin?
What's
Well,
Raiden?
What book
I
is
don't
it?
like Elantris. I don't know. I haven't read it in so long.
And
I remember it.
a lot of people don't like Reodin's arc because he really doesn't have an arc.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't have an internal arc.
Right.
He starts as a genuinely good person and he ends as a genuinely good person.
Yeah, that's fair.
The story is interesting about he's thrust into horrible circumstances and has to deal.
His conflicts are very much external.
Right. He would not
How
be
do I
interesting
solve this
2
problem?
books from now. Ever. Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
as a side character, he'd be interesting 2 books from now. But
And I do empathize with him a lot because he's a nerdy guy.
yeah,
He loves books. So-
he's too dashing for me and being, all good looking and good at everything for me to really empathize with him. But no, I liked Reodin.
I mean,
And there's a whole
admittedly, he's not very good looking for most of the book.
true.
Well, okay. but okay, fair point.
And he takes Elantris and builds a community, which is just, that is something I really enjoy. It's why I really love Sabarial. Not as a crush by any means.
Sabarial, the real beefcake.
Yeah.
He is hilarious.
Sabarial is building an economy, and it's just like, yes, give that to me.
So you like city builder games?
I love city.
Yep.
And there really aren't that many books that deal with that in a way I find satisfying.
Yeah.
So
did have that really well.
So what I'm getting out of this is Sibario, give it to me. I am now satisfied.
I'm gonna move on to my next beef.
Yeah.
Yay!
Now, before we move on from Rayoden, in a non-Krishnan like beefcake type of way, I always enjoy going back to Elantris just to see a positive character, somebody who tries to do good and is a good person and succeeds in doing good and is a little inspirational along the way. Like, it is good to have people like that in books, because I would like to see more people like that in the real world.
Yes.
And he's thrust into a horrible situation, but he's never angsty about it. He's just okay.
Sometimes you don't want the grim, dark, angsty person.
I feel like that's one of the things that I just overall appreciate about the way that Brandon writes the Cosmere is, in the midst of a lot of like dark, everyone's a horrible, deeply flawed, awful person, Brandon a lot of times is still willing to write like, this is a person who's trying their best to do a good thing, and they have flaws and they don't always do it right, but they have genuinely good intentions.
They try.
They want the best, and it's like, okay, yeah.
Even
thanks.
if the best is, I would love to kill everyone on Roshar, like Odium. Like, I am the hero of my story. What are you gonna do about it? Like, that's Odium, right? He believes that his path is correct. He wants to rule everything.
And this goes to Brandon as a person and as a writer, right? Brandon genuinely believes people are inherently good.
Yep, exactly.
And if they do bad things, it is most likely because of their circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
And I love that. I next to George R. R. Martin and Abercrombie, give me more Brandon.
I mean,
But also next to anyone, give me more Brandon. But like, you know what I mean.
Yep. So true.
Right. How about we do a rapid fire round of a few more beefs? We'll just go in order, like quick, not long discussions. I'll start with Palm. Yeah, Palm is
also on my list.
Good. Yeah, isn't she great though?
Good. If she was in more than one book, she would probably rival Steris for my love. Not really. Not really.
Technically.
No, she's
not.
She's
in the prologue.
No.
Why though? Like which palm?
All the palms. Just knowing a rogue Kandra is so awesome. Just that whole idea. By the way, I want to drop a knowledge bomb on you guys that this is canonical. The canonical thing. There is a team of Kandra assassins to just kill rogue Kandras. That happened in the Final Empire. How cool is that? That's a thing. That's a real thing. Yeah.
Huh.
He said it in the Mistborn Adventure game, but that was Brandon specifically saying that's a thing. So that's a legit canonical thing from the Mistborn Adventure game.
Cool.
From one of those. And I was like, how awesome is that whole concept? And she's just such a great villain that just wants to free everyone and is horrible and murderous. And you're like, I want to see more of her all the time.
Yeah, I love that, she was such a, like, damaged character, and then got very twisted by, you know, the spikes that she had, or spike, I guess it was only one.
Yeah, one spike.
And I know I found myself at the end of the Shadows of Self, whatchamacallit, Splintercast. I was like, oh man, I know what's gonna happen. She's gonna pretend to be Lessie, and Wax is gonna like totally freeze up. I've got it. I've got your number, Brandon. And then she did, but she wasn't just pretending to be Lessie. I was like, oh, that's so much better than what I came up with. And
It's
I was
so much
honestly,
better and
like,
so much worse.
It's
feel
worse
a
in
little
just
bad
the right ways.
for the way
No,
that I
dude.
reacted, because I was like, oh yeah, Wax is getting wrecked. I love it. I'm here for Wax's emotional devastation, and also like, oh, Palm, I feel so bad. I want to give her a hug. And I was like, wait a second, who's the protagonist and the villain of
I mean,
this
I wouldn't want to give her a hug, but she is evil and awesome, and also broken. So I mean,
I would not call her evil.
She's just been like
well, from
used
the
as a
perspective of the
tool
main
by
characters.
so
Yeah.
many people across her many lives. Like first the Lord Ruler, and then
Yeah.
Harmony kind of did the same thing with her. Even though we would say Harmony's a nicer guy, she was still just a tool that he was using to manipulate Wax into
I
place.
forget the time where Harmony like talks to Wax in Shadows and just is like, no, this person is Palm and she is extremely dangerous. I forget how that went, but I remember that being so awesome. It's like, oh no, I'm afraid. I am afraid of this person, of a rogue Khandra who can do so many of these things and is really good at them.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think Harmony's concern was that Palm hides from him and he doesn't understand how that's possible.
Right. Yeah, right.
Ugh, she's so interesting. Her motivations, the things she does.
It's still
I did
weird to see her, think of her as actually Lessie. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, I
Ugh.
get it, but like, I don't feel it, you know?
I've done both a song cover and a fanfic from Palm's perspective, because like getting inside her head is just so fascinating for me.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't rapid fire at all. Let's try that
Nope.
again.
Oops.
We'll do
Yeah.
the rapid fire next
Now
time.
we're doing the rapid fire.
Yeah.
That's
Evgeni,
okay. I'm pretty much out of bays and beefcakes.
You got
so
all the good villains, so there we
we
go.
got the
We're
we
done.
got the main points.
Yep. Evgeni.
I mean, I need to talk about Talon.
Oh, okay. all
Tom
right.
best human.
Best
1174.
best ever.
Ever.
Not only 1174 ever.
Many millennia.
Yeah, at least 4.5. Fortunately, there's not a whole lot to talk about. I've loved. I don't know if I loved Talon for a long time. I've loved the idea of Talon for a long time. The prelude of the Way of Kings was not really much. It was like, well, he's the only one. Like, okay, great. I don't know anything about this book. I can't
Right.
care at this
Right,
point.
Wants to be
right.
that guy, I guess.
And I don't right, sucks. I don't think there was much throughout the book itself. And then at the end, he shows up at the gates of Kholinar, and I am a sucker for a scene like that.
Mm.
Like if Hoyd is taking pity on him, that says something. And I instantly empathized with him. And then throughout the second book, obviously we got his interlude,
Oh, that was so good. So
which,
good.
wow.
Mm.
And then I think the moment where I realized that he is the best person around is, I don't remember if it was in an epigraph or just direct speech between people, but it was Staravangian's the bearer of agonies, on his shoulders rests humanity's prosperity for the past 4.5 millennia or something like that.
Oh, it's the Ancient of Stones.
The Ancient of Stones.
Oh,
sure.
right. Yeah.
And it just blew my mind. I'm like, at that moment, I realized the colossal feat of endurance that's going on. Obviously, I was aware of it, but that line that gave me perspective of
You didn't feel
wow.
it. You didn't feel it until then.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like wow.
And then you get Talon and Ash at the end, and you're like,
like I think that was the
Yeah.
real moment where I'm like,
What
oh.
a gift you've given them.
best
What
person
a
in the
wonderful
Cosmere.
gift.
See, this is why Matt's computer self-destructed so that Matt could be here to not like Talm.
I engineered it.
Yeah. Honor was like, no. Respect that person.
No, but that scene at the end of Oathbringer.
Okay.
And just he's the best.
Yep. All right. Faster. Go.
Elend. He
Yes.
starts off as a super nerdy guy and he becomes like a dreamy dude. That is the arc I want to live.
I do
Yeah,
love
pretty
him.
much.
He's
Top
great.
beefcake on my list. Yep.
I go
for the
to
beard.
parties and
No
read
beard.
books.
Beard bad.
Well, look, the world was ending, Alex. He didn't have time.
Find
to
a razor, Ellen.
He's spending more time making his uniform look shiny and white. Okay.
I feel so attacked right now.
I will say the question of whether or not Ellen canonically has a beard or not is a very hot topic in the Tumblr Discord server, and there's like team beard, team not of people who just like aggressively deny that it ever happened because it's bad.
Covers don't necessarily need to be canonical. What's that Warbreaker cover even mean? Yeah, it just looks cool.
Oh,
like, all right.
God.
The Polish covers for Mistborn have a really they're great, but they also have a really nice bearded Elend.
Ian.
I get another one.
No.
So
sorry.
I'm gonna go for a twofer. Sawzet and Tindwell.
All right. Yeah,
They're good.
They're great. Yeah.
I guess
They're nice.
Saz can be a beefcake whenever he
They
wants to
can
be.
both be beefcakes if
It's
they
true.
want.
They
That's
can
true.
both bulk up whenever
Harmony
they
can
they
be now whatever you want him to be.
just be jacked.
Yeah. Alex,
That's it.
any more?
I feel like if I was less straight garbage, Tin would be
Tin was great.
one of
It
mine.
was also great
she
when
was
Shallan
a pretty wonderful
horribly
con woman.
murdered Tin. That was probably my favorite part, though.
Awful people doing terrible things. So if she'd been a bigger character, probably more so as well. But
Yeah.
she served her purpose, and then Shallan moved on.
I love Venli a lot. I liked
Mm.
Venli so much. And I'm so excited to see book 4, to see where she'll go. Like, that's going to
And
be
that's why
great.
Ben's not on the podcast.
Well, yeah, that's right. We get a diverse view on Shardcast, and sometimes we schedule people out of podcasts. Or their computer dies, and then we say that town's great. That's
So convenient.
any more for you, Evgeni?
Yeah, I'll give an honorable mention to Rushu, one of the Ardents of Navati.
Oh, right. Yeah.
She's the one who joined the Ardensha to avoid the advances of men.
Right.
And then it turns out that all the male Ardents want to work with her for some reason. It's really odd. She's extremely intelligent. She knows a ton of things about a ton of things, including handwriting and fabrials, and she's oblivious of stuff and also adorable. And she also literally ran away when Navani asked her to marry her and Dalinar.
Oh, Rushu. Yeah, she's a great little like minor character. If you pay attention to her, she's got great moments.
Yeah.
She's an anime girl, actually.
Great. Well, any other ones that you guys want to mention?
I will say for Matt, since we have been dissing on Matt, I will bring up Adolin because Adolin was on Matt's list, and
Yeah.
Adolin is he's very good.
He's a
Adolin's
beefcake.
a good boy.
Yeah,
He's very good is a very good way to describe Adolin.
Yep.
Except when, he's murdering High Princess.
He's very good is a very good way to describe
and
Adolin.
he's excellent when he's murdering Sadeas. Do it
He
again.
deserved it.
Do it again.
So I'm going to mention two unrelated.
Okay.
Alrianne, who
Oh,
I
yeah.
always forget how awesome Alrianne is, and then we get her chapters in Well of Ascension. You're like, oh yeah, you're awesome. I love you.
Mhm.
And 2, I'm gonna go back to the Eldritch horror, Syanat.
Shianat is really great. Yeah.
It's very
Well,
good.
of Ascension, I'm like, I don't remember. But Shianat.
Definitely looking forward to more Shanat.
Yeah.
Wasn't she supposed to be Janat?
Ja,
Yeah,
yes.
but
we
Accor-
say
according-
things
yeah,
however
we
we
know.
want.
We say things how we
Brandon.
want. Yes. Listen to our pronunciation podcast. It'll be a consistent thing on this podcast still, even to this, even a year from now. All right, guys. So it is time for Who's That Cosmere Character?
Who's that?
Cosmere character.
All right, guys. So the game is I say a clue, these guys say a character, you send in your characters to who's that Cosmere character at gmail.com. 5 clues, and let's get right into it. So, clue number 1. This character is a world hopper.
Felt.
I was
No.
gonna say Felt.
Same.
Felt is our go-to world hopper.
I know.
Demu,
Bayon.
you go ahead.
Oh, Bayon. Oh, I thought you said Aeon. I'm like, that's not a world hopper at all. Bayon, no, it is not Bayon.
I'm going with Demu.
No. All right.
I feel like we're going after the obvious ones.
This character is a member of an influential group in the Cosmere.
Ayatil.
No.
Mraze.
No.
I did think about taking that one from you.
Yeah.
Mm,
I'm
gotta
gonna
stamp
go
him.
with Odium.
No.
dang.
Yeah. I'm
Strictly speaking, true.
strictly
Yes.
speaking, yes.
Yeah.
Clue 3. This character shares their name with something on their home planet.
Are we sure it's
Edgeley.
not Felt?
Edgeley.
No.
Vasher?
No.
You like Kalak's Phantoms, but
Frel?
No.
Okay.
Clue 4. When we see this character on screen, they are not on their home planet.
so not someone we know from their first book, I guess. We like that would make me think we have never seen this person on their home planet. A hard one.
I find this hilarious.
I can't think. I don't. That doesn't really fit with the shares their name with something. But I guess I'll go Naj because we've never seen him on Threnody.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think.
Jezrien.
No.
Shalash?
No. Clue 5. A native Scadrian steals something important from this character.
Elenoi.
There you go. There you go. From the Eyrie
Yep.
in Secret
The lake.
History.
Oh,
There's the name of the
Elenoi.
lake.
I saw people from Elantris and I just like blanked. So we just skipped that part. No, I didn't.
No.
I didn't skip that part of Secret History.
I kept thinking of Mraze's AVR. And like, I don't think that bird is given a name. So,
There's a lake in Aurelon.
yes,
Same name.
I'm
Yeah.
well aware.
Interesting.
I asked
I'm
Brendan
surprised
about
it took
and
you
he
this
rattled
long.
me.
Didn't know that.
I'm surprised it took you this long, Ian.
Good character.
Yeah.
I mean,
Are-
all the clues were they could have worked for a lot of
No.
stuff.
The second
I
one.
still got it, so
Yeah, you
You
did.
did.
That's true.
just advancing my lead.
The second one. This character is sometimes referred to as something they are not.
Lol. What?
I'm gonna go with Odium again.
Good guess, but no.
This is not my guess, but I really want to say the invalid.
No.
Something they're not.
I think they're not. I have no idea. That's such a hard clue.
This one is a hard opener clue.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be really odd, but I'll say Amaram
No.
because, well, never mind.
Well, people think he's a good person, I guess.
No, because Adolin calls him bastard, then I don't think he's actually a bastard.
Also true.
I mean,
God, I have no idea. I'm
you wanna
gonna
do it next?
Gavilar.
No.
I don't know. Just pick someone.
Clue 2. This character was chosen by a group to fulfill their current task.
Alendi.
No. That's a good guess, though. That is quite an astute guess.
Eshonai?
No.
Shalon?
No. Clue 3. This character has lost most of their memory.
Windle.
Windle. It is Windle. Lift calls.
calls him a
Windle, little
Voidbringer all the time.
Voidbringer. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Clue
Nice.
4 was this character does not like hurting people, and clue 5 is this character is not human.
Very nice.
And the group was obviously the Ring. So.
Yep. Which we still don't know anything about, so...
No, we don't.
Yeah.
Such is the state of the Cosmere.
Yep. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Shardcast. Send your Who's That Cosmere characters to whosthatcosmerecharacter@gmail.com. Hi, Dalish.
She always gotta make an appearance. She didn't want to.
And now she's like, nope, I'm out.
Have a butt.
Dalish is interrupting my outro. Follow us on 17shard.com for all of your news, discussion, theories, and fun that you need, and cats. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud. Leave us a review on iTunes, and we will see you all next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.